They'll be calling you a radical. More evidence. Scientists are mystified. They're baffled. They're stumped. They're curious. They're bewildered. Headline, CNN. Now remember, Anderson Vanderbilt Cooper and Sanchez criminal MD, who should be in a jail cell for violating his oath, were at Fukushima. Remember, they flew over there because it was a tsunami, and they're so... I mean, the CNN producers are that fucking stupid. Headline today, CNN. Crab are missing. Hundreds of millions of crabs are not overfishing. Don't say the F word. When Anderson Vanderbilt Cooper and Sanjay Gupta said the F word literally thousands of times live on the air. They're over there for the first 6 days. Fukushima using the word meltdown, meltdown, meltdown. Remember they had that phony PR freaking troll? Adam Walsh, who represented, he was an expert. Well, they had Keldicott freaking different news out. How about Busby on RT? The Pacific Ocean's a big place. How about Arnie Gundershill calling it I had to block him off my site, called it a hydrogen blast for 6 years. Full blown out meltdown. Day 6 of the disaster. Wind's blowing out over us in the United States. The plume is just hammering us, just annihilating us. I wonder how I got leukemia. My doctor says it straight up. I don't do opinion. I lived in a bone marrow transplant center for 5 years. The summer and fall of 2011, the hardcore, most radical, acute cancer of AML spike I ever saw. It was brutal. There was 44 of us in that, only one alive. It was more aggressive. It was hardcore. Should we get out? Should we get out? There are these meltdowns. You could see it in their face. Oh, they got out. They came home and never said the F word again. You think they were briefed? By who? Who owns the United States? If this doesn't prove you, the Nuclear Energy Crime Syndicate, they illuminate. The Illuminati, they're not illuminate. They radiate the crowning jewel. If you don't think that, gross for the IAEA meets with Putin. It's the club, the Nuclear Energy Club. Remember when the tornado hit Paducah, Kentucky? And I reported in 2014, and guess what? Full of Russian waste? I mean, the syndicate. I mean, it's the greatest criminal enterprise in human hit. Free money. Price Anderson. Freaking... I remember living in New York for all those years, and you'd meet some wannabe gangster, some, thought he was the mob, Pisa, Status King Cuomo, Donald Trump type. They all talk like gangsters because they still think, well, the mob still does. You seen the garbage in New York City? You think Eric's going to clean it up? No, he gave his friend a $4 million contract to study cleaning it up. So they'd always say, what do you do, man? I deal with nuclear waste. The mob. And you don't believe me? Look at the mob in Japan who run the so-called fake cleanup in paper suits and paper flowers. I'm going back to the Velvet Underground. May a fucking landslide bring all you nuclear rats down. You broke the chain. So they come home. They never say it. Sanchez Gupta, MD. March 25th, 2011. The same day Liz Taylor died. He brings on a doctor. I'll never forget it because I was watching it. I still had a TV then. That's when I got rid of my cable. How did they do it? One by Jetstream, two by cable TV. Has a Japanese doctor on. Well, I found out, and she uses the 11-year-old innuendo. Sudoku died 11 years old. Paper crane. I got a fold. You don't think that's a major event in Utah? Leukemia victim. Gets to hold real folded paper crane. There's 640 before she died in the Enola Gay hangar, which flew out of Utah. They presented me a fan made out of recycled paper cranes. Her very own niece came up to me, bowed to me, and tears in her eyes, and told me, "Thank you, Kevin Blanch, for all your historic work." Remember, I wasn't censored in Japan. I mean, I get this all the time. People come up to me. Remember I did a radio show with a professor inside Tokyo for a while. They came to the house and locked him up. Because we said there's full-blown meltdowns. They're lying. You broke the chain. You promised you would never break the fucking chain. Fucking hell of a way to boil a fucking planet. My 11-year-old best friend when I was a little girl in Tokyo died of leukemia. I found out later radiation isn't bad. It's good. It saves lives. Remember they brought that so-called artist from Michigan. Well, I had rheumatic fever and was home when Chernobyl happened in 86, and I was watching news, and I really thought you go there, there'd be 3 eyeballs and 6 freaking arms hanging out of everything. So I went to Chernobyl when I got older. There's nothing wrong over there. I went crazy. I come from a family of neurosurgeons. I asked my uncle, the famous neurosurgeon, is that criminal what he did? Oh, yes, yes, yes. He belongs in jail. Remember, this is a guy nominated by Barry Antoinette Obama to be the Surgeon General. And then you got freaking Trump. What about nuclear? We asked him. You going to talk Fukushima? Oh, yeah. You get in a car wreck, you don't stop driving. I yelled, you do if it kills you. This is the greatest ecological catastrophe in human history. See no nuclear evil. Hear no nuclear evil. See no... CNN, not overfishing. And here we go again. And think about this. Every one of these scientists has said they're mystified, they're baffled, they're curious. We're cutting up whales with chainsaws, starved to death. We'll get back. How disgusting. The well that I put my hands on that was dying in Half Moon Bay, you know they chopped that up and put it in the dump, which is against the law in California. You have to let it drip into the sea. Jeffers, fucking Monterey. Unfucking believable. All the evidence is right there. Kevin Blanche, the greatest PhD in human history. First, you hypothesize the knowledge. These are full-blown. Remember when I was at Weber State, which is the University of Genoa, which I'm still there, I had to go rogue. They don't pay me. They freaking went after me because I was going after the nuclear industry. I wrote paper after paper after Mach 1, Mach 2, fucking water boilers. Remember Westinghouse, Brookfield Bottom, bankrupt, Arriva, bankrupt. Remember when I had you short in Chicago Bridge and Iron, fucking bankrupt, the nuclear energy crime. Arriva, that fucking Mox Fuel fairy tale in fucking South Carolina, the Tower to Babel. Oh, it's biblical. Fucking beyond biblical. Every one of these... I'm a zoologist at Weber State University. I'm a biologist at Weber State University. I'm a history professor. What's the Enola Gay hanger? What's a vapor crane Kevin Blanche gets to hold? Cancer victim given 2 months to live gets to hold. I mean, major. International media all over. None of them. I'm a butcher, what's a cow? I'm a baker, what's a cake? I'm a fisherman, what's a fucking boat? I'm a plasterer, what's a hawk and trowel? I'm a football player, what's a goalpost? I'm a zoologist, biologist at Weber State, at Cal Berkeley, at fucking San Diego fucking State, at Monterey. Come on, kiddies, $50 to come into the fucking Dead Tide Pool fucking boot camp at Point Loma, California. What's Fukushima? These people belong in fucking prison cells, all of them. Mystified, baffled, stumped, curious. Is that even possible? They all have the golden handcuffs? Well, Price Anderson. Fucking billion, when you drop literally trillions and trillions of dollars into this industry, that is all fairy tale. I will quote Albert Einstein. You don't believe me? You don't believe Einstein. Hell of a way to boil fucking water. Hell of a way to boil a fucking planet. You broke the fucking chain. Albert Einstein, you will let this genie out of the bottle one day. You have taken this technology as far as you will ever take it. You will never take it further. There's no magic fucking little SMR. There's no magic fucking Moxville. Albert Einstein, 1951. SMRs in Utah. You can go talk 1,000 people in Utah. 1,000 people won't even know what you're talking about. Yet they're funding it out of their light bill. Amps. Going to new scale from hell. Bill Gates, who stole the operating system in Utah. Governor Cox, who's dumber than a stick. I talked to Governor Cox right up to his face about, yes, he didn't know what they were. Yeah, he got in bed. We're going to build them in Kemp. No, they're not. They get free money. They get grants. And by the way, New Scale's fucking grant was criminal. I'm the guy that exposed it. Look it up. The original funding they have to have before they get it is Kenwood. South American gangster, mobster, who's doing fucking 120 years in prison. That's their original money. How about this one? They got approved. Trump names Jose Reyes the CIO of NewScale. Used to work at Idaho National Lab. His partner, his lover, his nuclear lover, named head of the NRC. You think there's a little conflict of interest? And approves NewScale's fairy tale. Remember in Utah, we're going to have fucking 24 of them by 2019. Then it was 12. Now it's 6 by 20. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. It's free money. And then the Immunity Act of 1950s in Congress, and nobody talked. Went off to Afghanistan to kill the Taliban. Went off to Iraq to kill to get Dick Cheney and friends a big old sack. Well, you were busy fucking bombing people in fucking Iraq, 2 million innocent fucking women and children who never did anything to anybody in the United States. The Saudis attacked the fucking towers. We didn't do anything to them. Trump holds a golf course. Yay! They upped Price Anderson again for 20 more years in 2005. What's Price Anderson? The Immunity Act. What does that mean? That means the Nuclear Energy Crime Syndicate, any money they get, any criminal, I will quote Stephen Bechtel on the Hill. You're paid to put triple liners around the fucking tanks at Hanford. You were paid to do it. Congress appropriated money. He threw it right back on Congress. We don't have to. We can do whatever the hell we want with that money because of you. What are you talking about? The senators and the congressman didn't even know what he was talking about. Because the lobbyists just spoon feed. Hey, sign this. Okay, I'm Mike Lee. My dad died young of leukemia, yet I get caught bringing in nuclear waste to Energy Solutions dump site, the toilet, Utah. These people are dumber than sticks. They're kind of like an NFL scout. Pathetic. They wouldn't know a Picasso at the fucking MoMA if it smacked them around the fucking face. You all act like you don't know as the cancer slowly grows. Price Anderson. Well, my dad was a downwinder. Kevin Blanch interviews all these people. Right? I mean, the only person on earth who's ever asked a politician about Fukushima is Kevin Blanch. Really? Yeah. The greatest he called. I mean, because it just proves what the American populace is. I go back to the curators of the museums. We live in such an ignorant, weakling culture in the United States that they just ignore. That's how we play in this country. That's how we play. Scientists are mystified. They're baffled. They're stumped. They're bewildered. They're curious. CNN headline today. Who will not say the F word? And I can prove this. USA Today. When the Big Z, I'm the guy that named it the Big Z, in Ukraine, which I've been there many times. When it looked like they were going to blow it, which they probably already have. By the way, there's reports out now by Yahoo, of all people, that the mob's in there fucking running. I told you. Who run the cleanup supposedly at Japan, which there is no cleanup. Paper suits and paper flowers. I'm going back to the velvet underground. I never left. You see my gypsy. Boy, have I turned into a gypsy post-cancer. Sleeping on the beach in a sleeping bag. I'll be back there doing the dirty work, fucking ASAP, and I'm a fool to do all your dirty work. The greatest PhD opportunity in human history, the only guy that took it, still doing it. First, you hypothesize knowledge. These are full-blown out meltdowns. They're going to lie. They're going to lie. The Nuclear Energy Crime Syndicate's got total control of this country. They got control of the media. They got control of all academia. They're going to lie. The tide pools will wipe out first. Did they? Did they? Yep. Starfish went. Kevin Blanch's historic fucking tide pool work alone. Me oh my, Nobel Prize. What did I get for it? I got a bill for $1.8 million leukemia. I got kicked off Medicaid by Mike Lee while I'm in a bone marrow transplant center. I got fucking my chest rip me open, pour me out. There's things inside that scream and shout. Open heart fucking surgery, gallbladder, abused with no safety net. Kicked off fucking Medicaid after I forked over $1 million of that scumbag Tesla. He says nuclear's great. That fucking propped up fucking piece of... He's right in there with Billy Gates. Fucking stored in fucking ELE on capital E, capital L, capital E, small O-N Musk fucking basement. Billy fucking Gates, this fucking club. They're all pro-nuclears because it's all free money. It's control. It's a power trip. They're a freak show. And we've let them fucking do it. Not me. Fucking just like in fighting cancer. You either lay down and die and take a called third fucking strike, or you swing for the fucking fences and you go on fucking swinging and fighting. You know. Who's the Nuclear Energy Crime Syndicate? I'll tell you who they are. The 2022 Los Angeles Dodgers. Who's the... Kevin Blanch and the Post-Ignorance Project, who are we? We're the 2012 San Francisco Giants. Fucking CNN, USA Today headline when it looked like the Big Z was going to go. You all act like you don't know. Europe's biggest nuclear reactor could be Fukushima-style nuclear disaster. The greatest ecological catastrophe. See no nuclear energy evil. Hear no nuclear energy evil. Speak no nuclear energy evil. The nuclear energy emperors have no clothes. Fuck them. And the fucking jet stream they fucking blew in on. Fucking fight back. Fight or die. Fucking the greatest fight in human history. AML leukemia de novo. I'm a 1%er. You do know I'm a 1%er. I mean, all these interviews, it's fucking... Well, my doctor will tell you straight up, Kevin Lynch is the greatest miracle in my career. Celeste, East 8 Bone Marrow Transplant Center, Salt Lake City, LDS Hospital. Kevin, I ranked you when you came in here. You were a red 10. I've been here 26 years. You're the only red 10 I seen come out and didn't go out in a body bag. Sanjay Gupta belongs in a prison cell. He's a fucking practicing neurosurgeon, and he lies about nuclear fallout? You all act like you don't know. The crab have disappeared. Scientists are mystified, they're baffled, they're stumped, they're perplexed, they're bewildered. They're curious! They're alarmed. We're going to cut them up. We'll get right back to you. Kevin Blanch, fucking walking the coast, doing all the fucking dirty work all over the fucking world with no funding, with no nothing, full of fucking leukemia. Fuck, what a story. What a story. Crab disappear. CNN headlines. Not overfishing. No shit. Don't say the F word. The nuclear energy emperor has no fucking clothes. Stand tuned, literally.